Flight Sports TV, man. That's my dude. I rolls with him.
You heard what the man said. It's Flight Sports TV.
Like I said, Flight Sports TV, that's where it's at.
Flight Sports TV.
What's going on, people? It's Flight Sports TV. I appreciate y'all for checking with me. Listen, Coach Prime, Deion Sanders, and the Colorado Buffaloes, they just completely annihilated Arizona. I mean, seriously, Shedeur Sanders just completely wowed out. Shedeur had 256 yards, 3 touchdowns. He had a couple of blunders there. We're going to get all into it. Travis Hunter, he was out. He suffered, a re-aggravating injury. So, I mean, that's another bad thing. So it was a lot of news to discuss, today involving a lot of things Colorado. But I was thoroughly impressed tonight, nonetheless. They beat them down. They just took them to the woodshed today. You finally seen what Colorado could look like on offense and defense. Everything was clicking. I don't remember the last time we seen something like that. I just got to keep it real. But the defense listen, Shiloh Sanders yesterday, last game, pardon me, it was a lot of talk going on with Shiloh. Shiloh this, Shiloh that. He cost him the game. He wanted to leave no stone unturned. You've seen from the beginning of the game what kind of mindset that Shiloh was on, and then you heard Coach Prime Deion Sanders say prior to this game that he didn't have to worry about Shiloh. He knew what Shiloh was going to do. That defense brought it tonight. I wanted them to sustain this. It's kind of heartbreaking because they let one slip away last game. The Buffaloes really should, they should only have one loss right about now. They have started this season off better than a lot of people could possibly have expected. So that's big time for them. Back to what I want to get into, the Arizona. Like Arizona, man, to me, they really dropped the ball, in my humble opinion, tonight. I thought this was going to be a much more competitive outing, but for whatever reason, it wasn't. It was devastating. I want to get into Travis Hunter, because this situation with Travis obviously will linger. His day ended pretty crazy. Allison Williams of Fox Sports reported that he had a slight re-aggravation of his shoulder injury, but that decision was made to be cautious with him. So that's some optimism there. Travis Hunter, let's see what happens. Hunter suffered the shoulder injury during the Buffalo's Week 7 loss to Kansas State. He left in the second quarter of that game, but he was able to return, in the Week 8 matchup against the Wildcats. Hunter had 2 catches, 17 yards prior to leaving the contest. Colorado built a comfortable 28-7 lead when he left, and the Wildcats pulled several players from the lineup as well. So clearly, you've seen. It was wild because they just emptied out the bench. You'd have thought this was the NBA at the end of the game. Because the way they just, everybody got some rest in this game. The Buffaloes should be proud of themselves. They need to put on a performance like this all the time. There's no reason why, you have these blunders, here, there, and everywhere. Shout out to Gerald Chisholm in the chat. He says, great win, Travis. Good to see you. Shiloh, much better. Yes, we're going to break it down. We got post-game coverage. I got my man All Access with me, Dex. The Buffs win big. Talk to the people, man. It's Flight Sports.
Yes, sir. Shout out to Flight Sports TV, the machine, the voice of the voiceless, the people's champ, the hottest in the streets. Shout out to the panel as it reaches its premium peak. Shout out to the chat and all of its cacophony spewing out of the cracks and crevices of Flight Sports Block. And big ups to everybody pulling up with ecstasy. Yes, sir, Flight. All we want them to do is hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell so you won't miss one iota of an exuberant experience. Flight, you got it on deck, Flight. Live, in color, in 3D, up close and personal for this extravaganza. Flight, did you see the nastiness and the reflection of Warren Sapp on that defensive line and Coach Livingston on the totality of the defensive performance? It was nasty work, Flight. I'm talking about repulsive. It is it. Listen, Flight. They do not want to see this. They don't want to see the Buffaloes like this. They don't want the Buffaloes high in the sky, mighty like all apple pie in America. They don't want that, Flight. Look at Roll Tide. Looks like they might take another one. There's a lot of shaking up going on in the top 25. And this was an impressive win for the Buffaloes, especially a defense exposition like this, Flight. They had not one, not two, but three consecutive overs throughout this game. Arizona scored in the first quarter, and then Colorado Buffaloes say, that's it, not on my watch. And they shut them out three consecutive quarters, Flight. That is very impressive. Nothing short of amazing, Flight.
Well, were you surprised at the beatdown? I mean, come on, you would have thought Arizona would have put on a better performance. I mean, Colorado just went in there and just dogged them. Talk to me right there. That was wild.
Yes, Flight. What I noticed about Arizona, they have a lot of Pacific Islanders. They have a lot of players that come from that ilk, that background, that culture, and they just happen to be overwhelmed. This quarterback was hyped up, Fafita, and he was very pedestrian, maybe subpar at best, with the Colorado defense constantly putting pressure on them, disguising blitzes, and just coming straight at him mano on mano. It was a demonstration of domination, and this is what we want from the Colorado Buffaloes. And they did this in the absence of Travis Hunter, Flight.
Yeah, can you speak to the people, the Travis Hunter fans that are concerned right now? He had a re-aggravation of his injury. What's the latest on Travis? How devastating is this for the Buffaloes? Is this going to linger? Talk to the people.
Flight, the Colorado Buffalo schedule is favorable for this temporary absence of Travis Hunter, because they go play they go play Cincinnati, and then I believe they have a bye, and then they come back with Texas Tech up at Folsom Field. So this is a very favorable stretch for Colorado for the return of Travis Hunter and buying him time. So it's okay. Remember, his health is first. Colorado football is second, because Travis Hunter have a whole nother journey to embark on postpartum Colorado football. So Deion Sanders want to make sure that, he keeps him safe, healthy, with his well-being, and not put any extra pressure on him to go out and perform when he's not at his apex. So the monstrosity of the demonstration that Travis Hunter puts on week in and week out on both sides of the ball, as he affects the totality of Colorado football as a whole, will have to be postponed and maybe come back after the break.
Yeah. What's the deal, Rave? Did you check out this game? Coach Prime, Deion
Yeah,
Sanders,
man.
big time.
Yeah, I watched it on
Give,
TV. It was
give
on
us your
live
thoughts.
TV, and I remember. Yeah, yeah. For starters, it was a statement win. Okay, statement win because if anybody knows, you can ask Travis Hunter himself. He said that the team was not where they wanted it to be. Yes, they had talent. You already know Deion, Travis, right? We got some wide receiver Shepard. You know what I'm saying? We got some people out there, Wester. We got Shiloh, Shadur. So there's talent. They knew that. The issue was they had to get a few things done, had to correct the O line. So there was things that they was like, okay, and they didn't say it publicly until later. Like they finally was like, look, all right, we wasn't exactly where we want to be, but this year specifically, um, they definitely want to make a statement that hey, look, we was ready to be a good team, and they're showing it right now. They were the year before last year and last year they was planning to be a part of this hype that was on the media. That wasn't no joke. They came focused. Deion, for example, I'm gonna show you some. Travis said on somebody's show, a YouTuber streamer. Travis Hunter said, "Hey, there's a moment where Deion tells all the camera crew to move out the way, leave, so he can have a one-on-one with the team." And that talk, he says, that's what builds that energy and that hard work in them to go out that football field and do their best. Because that's what they're trying to build. Deion's trying to build this team into a successful team, not just for today, but for tomorrow. So this team, even if some of these players don't get drafted, Deion gives them these young cats, education, wisdom, help them move forward, and that's what he's trying to provide for this
Right.
Colorado Buffaloes. Now, I
Right.
saw something in the chat that I actually have to address. My boy Nick's in the chat. For one, we appreciate you coming on. I know you might have a little bit of doubts about this Colorado Buffaloes team. Just want to back up the Colorado Buffaloes just a little bit because you said has this team played a team with a winning record and it's all been favorable. That is not true. I got the stats for you. See, we don't just cover a team that's not trying to work hard. Colorado lost. It was a 31-28 against Kansas City State. Guess what? Kansas City State is 5-1, by the way. And also they beat UCF. Guess what? UCF is 3-1. So before you come in the chat talking about have they beat anybody with a good record? Have they played competition? Yes, they have played competition before this year. This season, they're working hard and they're trying their very best and they're going out there playing with formality, energy, and they're going out there working hard, playing hard. And this year, they want to make a statement saying, hey, we are one of those teams. Keeping it real.
And this Arizona team also, to add to Rave commentary, this Arizona team was ranked in the beginning of the
Yes,
year in
sir.
the top 25, and so
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This year.
it's not Colorado's fault who they're playing because the schedule is made for them, and it's not on them, right? The only thing they can do is agree and kind of switch up some times here and there, but the competition committee put the teams before Colorado, and Colorado's job is to beat these teams. And so far, they have been successful 5 times and been unsuccessful twice. So Colorado has exceeded expectation this year because they won more games this year than they won last year, and then last year they won more games that year than the previous year. So we're steadily seeing Colorado trending in the right direction. But if you can't see this, then you're suffering from cognitive dissonance, and it's just deplorable that you're being non-accepting of Colorado improvement game in and game out. And let me also express this. The Colorado Buffaloes have shown resiliency time in and time out. Anytime that you suffer a loss like they did against Nebraska, where they was totally embarrassed and outmanned, and then they come back and open a can of whoop ass on their very next opponent. When you suffer a brittle mental loss like Kansas State, you feel me? And at home, and then you bounce back and open up a can of whoop ass on your very next opponent. That shows the resiliency and the mental toughness that Colorado have. And with this Colorado defense led by Livingston and Warren Sapp, they are downright filthy, nasty, and repulsive to the opponent.
Yeah, good call. Shout out Uncle Vern. I want to bring up some one more thing with you, Dex, and then we'll get to Uncle Vern. What's the difference? What's the difference you see in the Warren Sapp's defense this year compared to what they charted out last year? What is Warren Sapp seeing, now, also opposed to what he's seeing in the beginning of the year? What's going on with that?
Warren Sapp have put in the positive nastiness. Warren Sapp have instilled the disrespectful positive. He have instilled a positive repulsiveness, and he have instilled a share and feel of domination. Dominate the guy on the other side of you. Don't worry about who's on your left or who's on your right. Worry about who's in front of you. That is the task at hand, and win that confrontation. And when you hearing this from a Hall of Famer, Super Bowl champion, and a prolific athlete from high school to college to the pros, it carries a whole lot of weight, and that's the difference between somebody else maybe whispering in your ear and what Warren Sapp is instilling in you. It will resonate because Warren Sapp have shown that he has done it successfully on all levels. Flight.
Good call.
That's fine.
What's the deal, Uncle Vern? The Colorado Buffaloes won big tonight. What's your thoughts on Deion Sanders and the Buffs winning today?
Man, I'm glad they did what they did, Flight. And it was like I was saying before, Flight. Hey, I'm tell you something. Like Deion said before last year, you understand me? Y'all better give me now, boy, because it's gonna be hard to give me that all. And they're gonna keep on going as long as he gonna be there, Flight. And 9 times out of 10, he gonna be there for a minute. You understand me? As things get greater, it's gonna get greater later, boy. And that's the thing, Flight. It's gonna be just like it was in the past with some studs, man. Yeah. Right, Dex. I agree with you 100%. And you was right, Dex. Boy, they came back and they reconciled the differences what they had with that Nebraska game. I get what you said. You right. They picked up. They realized that they stuff don't stink like they've been saying it did. You dig that, Dex?
Yes, sir, Uncle Vern. And these young men are being celebrated within their own conclave. They're not worried about how the media is narrating their agenda, because the media has been tainted and has been found guilty of hate. So these young men that's in the circle of the Colorado Buffalo University staff and organization, that Coach Prime have allowed these young men to do a little bit more than probably he would have if the media wasn't so begrudging of the Colorado Buffalo success. Like when the guy got the interception Wood and he took off his helmet, you know what I'm saying? That's a penalty. Coach Prime would have went crazy on that sideline. But since the game was what it was, very lopsided, and how the media has been berating these young men game in and game out, he gives them an opportunity to shine, to showcase their face so they can heighten their profile.
I agree with that 100%.
I feel that.
Well, Dex,
hey, just like Dex, what you just said. I was just gonna say real quick, Dex, what you just said was like important about this team this year. Just like how they just went into Arizona, playing their hearts out. And as I said, it says about this year specifically. That's all I'm trying to say is this year, Deion has a set schedule for them. Now, I'm not talking about like a schedule in games, but a schedule for the team on how they're going to go into the game mentally and physically on how they're going to do. So, and he knows, Deion knows, Travis Hunter is playing his best, you know. But there's one thing about Travis Hunter that, and that's why this game against Arizona, I saw it, and if anybody noticed, he was hurt. He was hurt last game, right, Dex? I think he got hurt last game, right? If I'm not mistaken. Can somebody correct me on that? I think he got
Yes,
hurt
he got
last
hurt
game.
last game. Yes,
Yeah.
against Kansas.
So he got hurt
Kansas
last
State.
game. The thing I noticed is I don't think he was 100% this game. And the thing about Travis Hunter is he's going to fight with his team no matter what and go out there. And that could be risky. You know what I'm saying? Because the team needs you for more and more other games. So if he decides to, like today, you saw all the other guys, the other weapons like Shepard and Winston, all those guys, they all was already doing their thing. So I felt like if Travis Hunter, instead of Travis Hunter like almost putting his body at risk this game, if he just took off just 2 games, he can give himself right back to 100%, and then he can go right back into the Heisman talks and be a part of the team and showing he can go 100%, especially going into this year's draft. So sometimes that's the one thing about when you want a player to be competitive. Competitive is it's a good thing, but at the same time, it's like you got to watch out and be careful because you're valuable to the team. You know what I'm saying? You're worth taking care of yourself as well because we need you for more games and important games. You know what I'm saying? We can't be having you risk your body against a team that's 2-6. You know what I'm saying? So like that's one thing about having a competitive nature is like I know you want to go out there and rock and work hard, but at the same time you got to watch out because we need you for later. So that's why Travis Hunter did not look 100% out there, even though he still showed that he could still catch that ball, still run past somebody. He still showed that, but he also put his body on the line because I don't think he was 100% that game against Arizona.
Good question.
I don't think he played.
Dex,
I
what's
don't think
going
he
on?
played against Arizona.
No, he did. He was on the field. What are you talking about?
You said Travis Hunter?
Yeah, he was on the field. He had 2 receptions and
Yeah, on the
17
sideline.
yards.
No, it said that he came out in the second quarter.
I'm saying he got hurt again.
Oh, okay. I see what you're talking about. Okay,
Yeah,
gotcha.
yeah. Like he got hurt again. He was
Yeah,
already
he really
got
wasn't
hurt
supposed to
last
be out
game.
there.
Yeah, he wasn't supposed to
Yeah, I
be
got
out
you.
there. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
Dex,
guess.
what's your
Go ahead.
chances of Colorado winning a bowl game or getting to a bowl game? What's their
Listen,
chance?
Flight, they're looking good. Like I said, they're trending in the right direction. Just like Rave said, Travis Hunter tried it. He wasn't able to complete the task. So instead of being an interference or disruption to the flow of the rhythm of the offense, he had to retreat and sit next to Coach Prime for the duration of the game. And at the same time, Flight, when you got Shador Sanders, when you got Legendary 2 out there spinning that pigskin, you always have an opportunity to win. Yes, he had 2 interceptions today. Both of those interceptions was like freaking frat. You know what I mean? One was tipped up in the air. The last one, and Arizona was in the right place at the right time to snatch that out of the air to give Shador his second interception. But
All right,
he
all right.
still wasn't phased. You know what I'm saying? So when you got, and he forgot, once he threw the interception, he forgot about that. That was over with. That's dead. He went on to average nearly 8 yards per play with 250 yards passing and 23 completions out of 33 attempts. So he was out there spinning that pigskin like you supposed to. And he didn't have his best game. But yet Colorado still dominated because of that defense when 3 consecutive quarters without yielding a field goal or safety. Over Flight. That is incredible. So when you got Shador Sanders watching this, Legendary too, watching this, he know he can be on cruise control. And like, did you notice the generosity of Shedeur Sanders today? 9 different receivers touched the ball. How generous can you be? He's not tunnel vision. He's not myopic. He's not a cyclops. He is able to scan the field with the best of them and high process all aspect and phases of the offense. 9 different receivers, and his longest play from scrimmage was 46 yards, damn near half of the field. So that is nice in itself, but I love his generosity. He is very charitable when he got that pigskin in his hands. Like,
Most definitely. What about Shiloh Sanders? Because a lot of people felt like he cost the Colorado Buffaloes the game against Kansas State. What do you think about his bounce back performance today?
yes, Deion was constantly in his ear. Shiloh had 4 good tackles, 3 solo. So yes, the competition wasn't of the echelon of Kansas State. You know what I'm saying? Them boys down there in Manhattan, Kansas. It's a tough place to be. It's a tough place to live, and it's a tough place to become a football player because that is one of the hubs of the whole state of Kansas. Is in that region over there in Manhattan that's isolated from Kansas City, and at the same time, you can rest assured, Flight, that the Arizona Wildcats at home down there in the desert were approximately 100-degree temperature with a monsoon ensuing. You know what I'm saying? That they probably thought they had the favorable matchup of Colorado coming in there banged up, bruised, and almost broken after that devastating loss with Kansas State. So Shiloh had to make ends meet. And I think he done a terrific job of staying home, covering his space, and keeping the integrity of his position intact, and not roaming around like a gypsy out there in the backfield. So big ups to Shiloh for his bounce back game, but I know Deion was in his ear constantly because he already stipulated that Shiloh was rusty and he played like trash against Kansas State because there's no way they should have had that last play at the end where the guy got over the top of the Colorado Buffaloes defense. That's where Shiloh was supposed to be to help in that situation, in that football situation as well.
Yes, Uncle Vern. Remind the people how talented Shiloh is. I never get caught up with Shedeur, but how talented is Shiloh? Because the defense was clicking today.
He challenged the Flight, and a lot of people expect him to do good on that, that defensive side and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Because he tried to carry that, the leader of the headache game. He was doing that at Jackson State. We want that to transfer over to what he's doing out of here in Colorado. You understand me? And to a certain extent, it is. You understand? Give it enough time and effort. You understand me? He'll stick with it instead of bowing it out. He did that before. You understand me? When he got hurt out there in Oregon last year, when they lost that game in Oregon, he bowed out real fast, not gracefully, but he bowed out real fast. You understand me? Then he took that injury side. This time he had to come back from the so-called injury this year, making a different story. He jumped right back into his same old spot. But that spotlight, like Coach Prime be saying, that camera and everything be on you. It can make you look good. It can make you look bad. You understand me? Shiloh been around a long time, like 6 years already with the NCAA. You understand me? So he know how to bounce back. Hopefully he can bounce back and do the right thing and continue to tackle rightly and do everything in order instead of getting a marker on him. Like, you know what I'm saying? He can only do so much, and this is what he is. I think like a lot of other people think he's greater than what he appeared to be, because what he appeared to be is a hard hitter. You understand me? That's good because he ain't got no cowardice in him. He want to do that, but you got to do it smartly too. And you know what I'm saying? And Coach Prime had that same marker too when he was in, you know what I'm saying, when he was in the pros and everything. He was with that hitting stuff. He wasn't really with that too much of that, you know what I'm saying, wrapping up type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? He leaves that to everybody else. But Shiloh can't take that approach. You understand me? Expect to be going to the pros with that kind of attitude. That don't work. It worked for Coach Prime, but it won't work for him like that. You understand me? That's what I'm thinking, Flight.
Yeah, most
Yeah.
definitely. Thinking about the two. Good. You want to follow that up?
Yeah,
And
yeah. No, I don't really want to follow it up because I couldn't say it no better. But I was just looking at Nick's. He said, I don't think they ever was ranked top by season end. Have they? Yes, they have been was ranked in recent times. They was a top 10 team and they won the Big 12 championship, I believe, about 2 years ago. They beat TCU, which was ranked number 3, and Kansas State finished out that season a top 10 team. And then Kansas State has been relevant from the mid 90s all the way to the early 2000s. So don't forget that, with Michael Bishop as their quarterback, they have, I think they played in, I think, 3 Big 12 championship games. And I think they won 1. And, you had the Michael Bishops and I think, was it Kevin Lockett? Darren Sproles, you know what I'm saying? You had some pretty good heavyweights come out of Kansas State in that Big 12. So yes, and that was in there with Texas Tech, Oklahoma, Texas, Oklahoma State, Iowa State. So they had some real good heavyweight teams in that mid '90s, where Michael Bishop led them to, I believe, 3 Big 12 appearances, and I think winning 1. So, and they was always in the top 10 ranking towards the end of the season. So yeah, Kansas State do have a glorified program.
Go call in. Bottom line was today was an epic win for the Colorado Buffaloes. I wanted to ask you a question, Dex. What do you think about the 2 interceptions that Shedeur Sanders threw? What do you think about that?
Yeah, they were too goofy. They were too goofy interceptions, especially the last one was very gratuitous because all they had to do was just run the ball. They was already in field goal range. No need to be greedy. But sometimes, that's taking on the allure of Coach Prime. You know what I'm saying? Let's go. Let's get them down. Let's cut the jugular vein and let them bleed out. You understand what I'm saying? So the relentlessness of Coach Prime sometimes spills on to the team and the schematics as they close out games. And sometimes they do things maybe a little unnecessary. So they could have just ran the ball, let Mata get his field goal in. Instead, it was a negative stat line for Shedeur Sanders.
Good call. Do you think they can be able to sustain this level of performance in their next game and to close out the season?
Yeah, because like I said, the Big 12 is shaking up. You know what I'm saying? So it's going to be a dog world in the Big 12, and they're going to feast off each other. And right now, Colorado is trying to position themselves because they went through majority of the meat of the conference Pauls, but they still have Utah. That is a game they have to put an asterisk by because that's going to be a really, really tough game playing against the Utah Utes. Another top 25 team in college football. So they got Cincinnati, they got Texas Tech, and then they have, I think, a bye. So that's a favorable schedule, and then they go into Utah and Oklahoma State and Kansas. And when you look at Oklahoma State, they started out tough because they was ranked team. Kansas started out really great. They was a ranked team, but then they start to spiral in the wrong direction. So Colorado can have an opportunity to kick them while they're down.
Yep. Good response there, Dex. There's a lot of things going on with the Colorado Buffaloes, man. They went through a lot of adversity. This season they're starting off very well. Last year, they started the season good, but it seemed like they couldn't sustain themselves. It seemed like we're getting in the middle of the season, and it's looking like the Colorado Buffaloes are getting hotter. Last year I couldn't say that was the case. That's something that I'm seeing. I hope that we could continue. They're getting better and better game by game. Everything is clicking, and now they're dealing with injuries, and people that's getting hurt. Now let's see if they could deal with that pretty decently. Shiloh came back fast. Let's hope this situation with, Travis isn't bigger than what they're reporting. But anything involving Travis should be treated crazy. But the Buffaloes really didn't need him tonight because they just put it on Arizona. I was just shocked at the way Arizona came out tonight in this game. I thought it would have been a better performance, but obviously we didn't get there. It's crazy, Dex.
Yeah, and Flight, that's great that you recognize that that assessment is on point. One thing you have to remember, Flight, is that the Colorado Buffaloes have two Heisman candidates, right? Now, we know that Travis Hunter is ranked way higher than Shedeur at the moment, but still, Shedeur is a Heisman candidate type talent. So if one is not playing like Travis Hunter, which is a big hit, but then Shedeur comes out and play a pretty pedestrian game, nothing spectacular, but he showed that he can manage and he don't have to be a superstar to win. And you can see that he trusts his receiver room to the point where his generosity led him to 9 different receivers. You don't often see that. And I keep trying to bring this up as in comparison with Arizona, right? Arizona only targeted 5 receivers. So Shedeur, with all the weaponry he have in that receiver room, his generosity extended to 9 different numbers on that Colorado Buffalo uniform. So that just shows you how well that he is a high processor and he can read down, check down, scan the field, and make the incredible high IQ play. Despite some of the goofiness, like I said, with one receiver kind of, not getting it right, and he threw an interception, and the other one was very unnecessary, gratuitous at best, where all they have to do is run the ball, kick the field goal, and pile up those points. Because in the end, the points matter, because they always have this eye test. When they go in the bowl selection committee, they have an eye test. And when they have the eye test, they look at how many points you scored against certain teams that they played the teams that is challenging you for that bowl selection slot. So I understand why they're gusting for the end zone, but at the same time, put the points on the board. And listen, this is not anything of a glitch for Colorado because they scored every quarter, and that's what you want, Flight. You want to score and dominate every single quarter. You want to send a message throughout the collegiate football landscape that your guys don't give up. They don't play the rest. They play to win.
Yeah, good call there, Dex. I mean, you're right. You're right on the money. Hopefully the Buffaloes can continue to play to win. Shout out to all y'all in the chat. Shout out DJ Dells 1122. He said, "Let's go Buffs." You already know. Shout out to everybody that's been rocking with Deion Sanders through the ups, the downs, the in-betweens. Things hasn't been easy for the Colorado Buffaloes, but they're figuring it out. And I told the people also, everybody's going pro this year, obviously, Shedeur, Travis, Shiloh. But to me, I think this is like one last hurrah. They got to go out with a bang. And I hope that they continue to accumulate these dubs and just keep winning. That's what it's all about. They really dropped the ball, in my opinion, against Kansas State. Dex, how big of a loss was that now after this game against Arizona? Imagine if they could have got that win also against Kansas State. How big of a loss was that?
Well, Flight, according to their schedule, it wasn't so much of a big of a loss because they was the underdog going into that game. And let me share with everybody here that invest in putting skin on the game or online or however you do it. Colorado has covered every game except Nebraska and South Dakota State. Since those first two games, they have covered every single game since then consecutively. So if you putting skin on Colorado, you winning. And if you ain't, then that's your fault. But if you don't indulge, it's all cool too. But Colorado represents winning. And like I said, gambling has been a big push and a big cloud over sports right now. You follow what I'm saying? And if you're a part of that culture, you're getting bags on top of bags for Colorado because they are covering every spread since their first two games. They haven't jumped off the boat yet. And I encourage you to rock with Colorado. So that game wasn't a big loss because they was an overwhelming underdog. You know, they wasn't even ranked, and K-State was ranked top 25. I think they was ranked top 15. I'm not mistaken, but they were, you know what I'm saying, they was high up there. They're solidifying themselves as a serious competitor in the Big 12 conference. So that wasn't a bad loss. But what made it bad or left a bad taste simmering on our tongues, pause, is that they had the game won. The game was won. It was over with. All they had to do is stop them 4 straight times because K-State had to score a touchdown because they was down by 4. So a field goal wouldn't have did anything. And so they let them run off 3 straight long plays. The running back, the quarterback, and then he threw that last bomb. And so that was despicable within itself. But outside of that, they was expected to lose that game, and they was expected to lose big. And Colorado covered the spread and really had the game won until the mental breakdown, a serious gaffe from Shiloh Sanders not being in position to help knock the ball down or even help make a tackle.
Yeah, good call on that, Dex. It's a messed up situation there with the Buffaloes, man. I just hope that, they keep winning because you don't want to fall into what happened last year where, they received a loss and they get a heartbreaking loss and then everything just starts to crumble. It seemed like it was one screw up after another screw up. And that's what I don't want for the Colorado Buffaloes. It seemed like the season is winning, so let's keep that season going.
You're not going to see that from Colorado this year, Flight. They have already shown you the acrobatics of resiliency when they got plastered in Nebraska and Lincoln. When they saw all that red and they trembled, they shook, and they fell like the wall of Jericho. Then you saw it again once K-State beat them in a undaunting last-second bomb from the quarterback who wasn't really throwing all game, and they lose that, and then they bounce back and just purely showed a high level of domination. We got to instill this. We have to plaster this on your brain. We have to inculcate this in your head. They dominated, and that defense was the winner. They got the game ball. Shedeur Sanders was very pedestrian in this game. Nothing spectacular. He just managed the game, and he got away with 2 interceptions. When the last time Colorado can win a game if Shedeur Sanders throw 2 interceptions, especially one in the red zone? That would have been defeating. But by this defense showing that they can be nasty and despicable and horrible. This is Halloween month. It was horrible to the Arizona Wildcats. The Arizona Wildcats was scared. They didn't know what to do. And they lucky to get that 7 points because it almost was an offer for this game. That's how sheer dominating this Warren Sapp and Rob Livingston defense have been very tactful and tenacious under Tundra.
Good call there, man. Like I said, we're gonna have a lot of content here for Colorado and the Buffaloes. And to be honest with you, I think we just beginning. Dex, do you got anything else you want to discuss with the people? I'll give you the floor in closing, or you wrapped up.
Yes, Deion Sanders, right? Uncle Vern said it best, and shout out to Uncle Vern for bringing this up in recollection faction that Deion Sanders said, "You better get me now." That was last season, early last season. You better get me now because I'm coming, and when I'm coming, it's going to be a wrap. So you got to keep in mind that recruits come to every game. Now, it might not be Colorado recruits. It could be the other team recruits. You understand what I'm saying? And when Colorado shows and display this flair of awesomeness and the aura that surrounds Black and Gold, C Buff Nation, it's just spectacular. Nothing short of amazing. That could flip recruits. So this is what Coach Prime is putting out in the ethers. Get me while I'm down, because when I start coming, it's going to be on and cracking. And when recruits see this family-oriented style of football with an overtone of religious jargon, and a lot of these young kids come from religious background, this could resonate. And it could be a tool to flip a recruit. Because in most sports, they try to push the religion out. You know what I'm saying? The God thing, the Jesus thing, the Buddha thing. Whatever thing it is that is religious or spiritual, a lot of times they try to put it out because coaches want control, full control. They don't want you to give up any control to an outside entity other than the program. And what Coach Prime gives you the freedom to breathe, the freedom to live, the freedom to be who you are, but just make sure if you want to be a Buffalo, you got to set some of your personal goals aside, not all, but some, and sacrifice for CU Buff Nation, and you will be rewarded in the end. Sacrifice now, and you will have your reward in the end. Because one thing Coach Prime have stipulated to these young budding men, and it has definitely germinated when he drops his seeds, that after difficulty comes ease. And if you're able to go through the difficulty, then once you pass that stage, things become a little easier because now you have experienced some difficulties during your journey. And now if you come across that impediment somewhere down the line, you'll be more at ease because you have knowledge, information, and experience to be able to move that roadblock out of your path. And this is what I love, how Coach Prime has genuinely instilled this into these young men. The way he disseminates his information is just fantastic. And I love it and I support it.
Good call there, Dex. And I'm pretty sure everybody in the chat loves it and supports it as well. We got a lot of CU fans out there. Shout out to Plant Base. Shout out Jason, all y'all in the chat. The Buffaloes won big time tonight. So many things to discuss, so many things to pick apart. But
yes, sir.
In all totality, the main thing is that they won. I can't stress that enough. And they continue on to get hot in the middle of the year. I think that's the underlying key, in my opinion. Can you agree that they're getting hotter in the middle of the season, or am I agreeing?
Well said, Flight. Oh my God, that was well said. Coach Prime is the gyroscope for CU Buff Nation. And let me tell you, he has laid out a roadmap as if he was a grand topographer. He's making this blueprint of success and winning and still not allowing the majority of the team to be jealous or envy of each other. You know what I'm saying? He's all about teamwork, right? You know, team, together, everyone achieves more. That's the acronym for team. And Coach Prime has really inculcated this in the heads of these young men and have inspired them by the heart of his giving soul. So big ups to Coach Prime. He has done it on all levels. Warren Sapp, they got Terrell Owens. So they have a lot of high profile, successful athletes on that sideline imparting information and knowledge and wisdom to these young men that will give them a little more of an edge than some other programs who might not have such excellence of athleticism on the sideline that done it at the highest level. And you can't say they didn't do it at the highest level because there's tapes, there's YouTube that you can go watch and see the Terrell Owens of the world, the Dennis Thurmans of the world, the Coach Primes of the world, the Warren Sapps of the world. And these coaches on the sideline are members of the community that wasn't born with a silver spoon in their mouth. So they know how to talk to these players on all levels. And you got other coaches that might not come from the hardness of a ratchet environment, and they came from pretty ease middle class. And so you got players on Colorado that came from that as well. So Coach Prime have a coaching staff that is able to dwell in multi-dimensional emotions and feelings and ebbs and flows of these young men's lives as they come and encroach onto collegiate sports, and hopefully they can make it to the next level, which is the NFL. Not all of them will, but hopefully some will that wasn't expected to. And Coach Prime is here, as well as his coaching staff, to impart such good knowledge and information so these players flight, so these players stream, for these players chat, can make an indelible mark wherever they go and whatever they choose to do in life. Postpartum, CU Buff football.
Right. What do you think of Shiloh's draft chances as well? You know, after this coming back from injury, does that help?
I think Shiloh will be drafted. And if he can make people forget the mental gaffe that he made on the Kansas State loss, if he can make the scouts forget that and show that he can bounce back after a horrible game and string along some consecutive good plays with good behavior and stay within the confines of the defensive stratagem, I think he will be a nice second round or third round pick in the NFL. Because you got to remember now, Flight, his position is not highly coveted right now in the NFL. If you look across the NFL landscape on the 30 teams that will be drafting, you probably can't even name a safety or string 10 safeties outside of your favorite team. So they just putting people back there and let it roll. You know what I'm saying? So because that position is very expendable. It's not like the cornerback. You know what I'm saying? The defensive back position, because, you know, they are the first line of defense for preventing a terrorizing day by a receiver. So Shiloh has some work to do, and he has some ground to make up so he can convince the scouts and the GMs that he have the mental capacity to be a structured, disciplined, and directional football player. Like,
good key. You know, so we just want to wish the best for all of the Sanders family. Obviously, Shador gets all of the shine, but we got to understand Shiloh's definitely going to get drafted. He's coming off of a big-time injury. Everybody counted him out as well. People thought that his time in college was over with. He was headed to the pros, but clearly that was not the case. I was surprised at the way he came back. I didn't anticipate him rushing back so fast, but he's back nonetheless. And the Buffaloes, they won, so I expect nothing but greatness. This was definitely a big time, I would say a statement dub, in my opinion.
Definitely a statement. Yes, sir. Definitely a statement win for Colorado, even though it was Arizona Wildcats. But like I said, they was a ranked team in the beginning of the season, and Colorado went on the road after that devastating loss at Folsom Field and just plastered the Arizona Wildcats all over the place. And Arizona came in with Noah Fifita, who has been, kind of touted in the collegiate football landscape, and they just smothered him. They just smothered him with a pillow, like, you know what I'm saying? He died by suffocation. You feel me? So that's where you have a good defense. And yes, Jason, we have adulated that defense since the stream started, because what a performance they put up. Colorado yielded 7 points in the first quarter, and after that, it was nothing. 0. They treated them like burnt bacon. You know what I'm saying? Just throw it in the trash.
You said burnt bacon. That's a funny analogy. Shout out all y'all in the chat. Listen, we're going to have a lot more Colorado news updates and more here. Flight Sports is just the beginning. We're going to have a lot of videos and updates leading up to the next game. So make sure you hit the like button and most definitely hit the subscribe button. You already know what it is. It's Flight Sports TV. Shout out Dex, Rave, all y'all that pulled up. Peace and love.
Flight Sports TV, man. That's my dude. I rolls with him.
You're with the man.